welcome back to yet another episode of the New to Retro Review podcast. It's a little bit different than what you might remember. I've kind of embraced more being on screen for these things, and just it's kind of fun that way. I guess it's more personal, and people always say that they love seeing my room in my videos, so I guess that's where we are. And to help be the guinea pig for this great episode that we're doing, we have Cy from the First Aid Spray podcast with me. He's back again. He was here for the last episode when I interviewed him and Steve from First Aid Spray podcast. So,
Tony, I don't want to cut off your jibe, but it's a them-they situation for me. But I mean, I'm not like super precious about it. But if I'm just saying,
that's it. I'm canceled.
It's done. Cool. It happens.
Cool. I'm an idiot. God, I think I knew that too. Dude, but I'm not 100% sure. So I do apologize for that. I am an asshole. Cool. So many of my friends actually have like different pronouns and everything like that though. Like they love when I screw up because they think it's the funniest thing. Because they know I don't do it to be malicious. They just know I'm an idiot.
No, of course. No, I get it. I do it to myself every now and then. So I know. I get it.
Okay, well you heard it here, folks. So nobody can get mad at me. They do it to themselves. Okay, okay, that's. Like, don't be mad. Don't get the pitchforks yet.
Do you like how we started and I'm immediately like, no!
Yeah, it's coming
like,
in hot. You idiot, you screwed it up already! This is
it's good to be back.
Yeah, this is worth getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. But no, dude, thank you for coming back for this great episode, because like we got talking about this. I think we actually talked about it a little bit on the last episode, or at least after we were rolling. But, you know, this whole episode is focused on Ghostbusters, which both Cy and I are huge fans of. So, he's got the shirt. I don't have a shirt, so I'm not a true fan. I'm a fake fan.
I had to represent.
Oh, no, I love it, dude. I love it. And so, yeah, like, I guess we should start off by saying, like, you know, how did you get introduced to Ghostbusters itself?
You know, like, so many things, I can't tell you the, like, first moment. It's just always been there. I would have been crazy young. So I was born a few months after Ghostbusters 2 came out. So by the time that I was sort of old enough to care about movies and TV, like it was pretty much all long gone. Even the TV series was over. So I kind of missed out on it. But I'm pretty sure it was my dad's fault. Because I was into like monsters and ghosts and, you know, that kind of thing. So sometimes my dad would be, and like sci-fi and stuff, he turned me onto like the Hitchhiker's Guide. Often he would just be like, oh, you might enjoy this. You know, it's funny and it's got those kinds of things in it. And one of them was Ghostbusters. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. I just know that for the longest time I had both the films. This is really, really like dating it. There'll be people watching this maybe that don't necessarily like have this experience, but these weren't the VHS tapes that you buy from the store. These were the blank VHS tapes that you put in and record what's on TV. So like the first, I don't know, 10 years of my life, my rewatchings of Ghostbusters was just on these terrible VHSs off the TV with like adverts in like random points, and there was like scenes missing as well. And I finally got the DVD versions. I was like, oh, I can finally see not important stuff, but just like little bits. I was like, okay, cool. You know, the monster in the fridge does say Zool for whatever reason. That was missing from the TV cut that I had on tape, but. Yeah, that's where it started. You know, I guess technically that's kind of like pirating now. Back then it wasn't that big of a deal, you know, but there you go.
That's good. Yeah. For me, I guess I remember like it was the cartoon show for me. But I saw the second movie shortly after. I don't remember how, but I remember seeing it. I think maybe at my buddy Luke's house we saw it, because like he was the horror guy when we were kids. Like he loved everything spooky and scary and stuff like that. And but Ghostbusters as a cartoon was really good. It was just like one of those shows that was on with like all the other shows of like the late 80s and early 90s that were all like bunched together on different networks and such. And for me, like I fell in love with like the characters, and then, you know, I haven't seen like, you know, Ghostbusters 2 and stuff. Obviously seeing it out of order, it's a little bit weird when you hear them talking about, yeah, we saved the city before, and I'm like, wait, what? As a kid, I'm stupid. I'm like, I don't, it didn't go into my head. Ghostbusters 2, and I'm just like, well, explains a lot. But no, it was like the original show for me was like gold, and it ran for a long time. Do you ever see how many episodes how many seasons they made?
There's like 170 episodes or something crazy.
Yeah, they made a ton.
And I've only seen like a few dozen. I've never really seen much of the cartoon show. I'll try every now and then to sit through some on Netflix, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't think
it's difficult to focus on a
cartoon.
I don't know if it's still over here, but it was at least for a little while. I don't know. Maybe it's just difficult to concentrate on an old cartoon show when you're in your 30s. It's not a priority, I guess. But I never really grew up with the TV series. It wasn't really on TV for me around here too much. There were like 4 episodes. It's just the same kind of situation. There were just like 4 episodes that I would see over and over again.
Yeah.
Because we had the VHS, like the actual one this time. And back then, you know what it was like, VHS tapes. You can fit a couple of episodes on there. Not like now where you buy like a box set DVD with everything.
Yeah.
They really would just pick 2 random episodes. So I had two boxes or 2 cassettes with 2 episodes apiece. I think we bought them from like it wasn't a Blockbuster, but it was like a little local chain. The one closest to us was just going bust, so they were like selling off their stock. So we must have got them really cheap, and I just watched the crap out of those 4 episodes. But yeah, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of it until like the internet and streaming happened, or I could maybe pick up the first season on DVD. So I kind of missed out on the cartoon, really, like in the grand scheme.
Yeah, like I mean, in America, like Ghostbusters was like one of the biggest things in the '90s. Like a lot of things that were huge in the '90s for me as a kid. Because I was born in '87, so I actually was born the year Ghostbusters 2 came out.
89.
Yep.
89 is Ghostbusters 2.
Yep. So, oh wait, was it '89? I thought it was '87.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was already born there. Okay, yeah. I thought. Oh, that's right. It was. That's right. Yeah, because it was a huge gap between the '84 movie and the second one. I remember that. Like, that was like a long time for a sequel to come out.
And now look how long it's been.
Yeah, well, that's because Hollywood can't get, their heads out their asses and do things the right way. It's all red tape, and it's all too difficult to talk about, and Bill Murray is difficult to work with, I mean, apparently he is, I don't know. But
I'm sure we'll talk about that, yeah.
Yeah, but I just remember as a kid, like, TMNT, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that was like the biggest thing from the 80s. Ghostbusters was like right behind it. Power Rangers came out in like 93, and that took America by storm. Pokemon was like later in like 97, but Ghostbusters like seemed to endure a long life after the the 2 movies were done, and the animated series had gone its way. It's gone its course. It did all those the episodes that it did, and then Extreme Ghostbusters came out, which a lot of people dismissed back in the day. But to be fair, that show is actually really good. It really feels like it's a worthy successor to the original, because it does take place in the same universe. I mean, did you ever see Extreme Ghostbusters?
Yeah, that was the one that I saw a bit more of.
Okay.
Because I was already a fan by this point. And before it started airing, I remember being like unbelievably excited that there was going to be a new Ghostbusters show. Because like growing up in the sort of like mid 90s, you say it's when everything kind of started to die down for Ghostbusters. So, and I was the super fan, and I was the super fan of these movies that came out last decade. They weren't a big deal anymore. So it was, I was constantly like, oh, I want a Ghostbusters this, I want Ghostbusters that. It's not really a thing. So when there was a new TV show, I was like, oh my God, here's my chance. So yeah, I remember watching more of that. I love Extreme Ghostbusters. I think it's great. All of those shows as well from that era that have that look, they're all pretty good. Like the Men in Black show, there's a Jumanji show that looks.
Oh my God, Jumanji, yeah.
The same animation studio, I think, because they've all got like a similar look to them.
I think it was
Godzilla as well. Godzilla.
Yep, Klasky Kupo. They're the ones that did a lot of stuff for like Nickelodeon, like they animated like Rugrats, Real Monsters. What's the one I've been Rocket Power? I've been binging Rocket Power like crazy because it's on Paramount Plus. But yeah, like Extreme Ghostbusters was really good. I remember a lot of people were sad because like the OG Ghostbusters weren't coming back, but then people found out Egon was in it, and that just worked out perfectly for them. And then like the series finale, they did actually bring the old Ghostbusters back. Or the 2-parters, which was really cool that they did that.
The classic voice actors as well. Everyone came back, which is cool. Yeah. I think some people's aversion to Extreme Ghostbusters is just kind of like you're gonna get that all the time. Like for some people, Ghostbusters is a Bill Murray film, and it's kind of like, well, it's not the same without the same characters. But
Yeah.
I've talked about this before, but for other people, it's bigger than just the original characters. And yeah, as you say, what was so great about Extreme Ghostbusters is you had Egon there as like the mentor, like leading in these new characters who were, I mean, this is like a whole other discussion, right? But people talk about TV shows and movies and stuff that bring back old brands and wokeify them, if you like. Even Ghostbusters has been accused of this in the last 5 years with the full Feig film.
Yeah.
But Extreme Ghostbusters came out in '97, and its core cast were a Latino man, a black man. The first female Ghostbusters, sure, she's white, but they actually had a core Ghostbuster, like part of the actual team, who's a woman, and a white guy who was disabled, like in a wheelchair. Like that's incredible. Like how far ahead of its time that show really was. I'm pretty sure it won awards for like, representing minorities or like that, because just like disabled kids being able to see someone on a wheelchair on TV, like in a cartoon, and them doing cool action hero stuff. I don't even think that really happens that much now. It definitely didn't happen back then. So that was awesome.
It doesn't, and that was, I think you're right about it winning awards. I think it did because and these characters were great. Like they weren't just like a black guy, a Latino guy, a paraplegic and everything like that, or someone who's in a wheelchair. It was, they all had personality. Like they really worked on the personality of these characters. And funny enough, the guy it was Eduardo, the guy, the Spanish guy. That's Luis Serra's voice actor from Resident Evil 4.
It took me so long before that connected, and now I can't unhear it.
Yeah. and what do you call it there? The other guy was played by Fresh Prince fame, Alfonso Ribeiro. He was there. So like they had I can't remember the guy who does the one in the wheelchair, but he is had a. I don't remember,
but I know that Kylie was Tara Strong as well, which obviously she was a big deal by this point.
Oh yeah, she's still in everything.
Every show. So.
Yeah. She's like Jennifer Hale, like like those two, like
yes,
you hear their voices.
She is, yeah,
and they're in everything. And I guess you could even consider Laura Bailey like in that category because Laura Bailey's in everything now too.
Mm-hmm. She's like the proto of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was really amazing. And I love like when going back to the first series where they try to like replicate a lot of the voices from the original show and everything like that. And it's the guy who voiced Garfield was the one voicing Peter Venkman in this, and it fits so well. And when they wanted to do Egon, Harold Ramis's character, they brought in Maurice LaMarche, and that guy, the brain from Pinky and the Brain, it's like what he's like most known for, but he's in so much other stuff. Mm-hmm. They didn't want him to replicate Harold Ramis at all. They were like, don't do how he did in the movies. We kind of want to make this our own thing. And he was like, screw it, I'm going to do it. And he did it, and they were all like, keep that.
Yeah, it's so good that we can't say no to it, kind of thing. Yeah. Did you ever hear the story about why they changed Pete Venkman's voice actor in the cartoon show? Funnily enough, because some of them change.
Yeah, Lorenzo Music was the one that did him, and if that's his name, if I remember correctly. But yeah. He left after like a couple of seasons or something like that, right?
Right, and then it was Dave Coulier took over. The reason being, apparently. This is the popular speculation. Apparently, Bill Murray watched some of the show and was like, why does my character sound like Garfield? Get rid of him. And then like 20 years later, he plays Garfield. You know, Bill Murray is Garfield in the live action movie or CG movie or whatever it is. So, which is, kind of hilarious, really.
Yeah, was that true? Was that like actually confirmed, or was that like one of the things?
Apparently, I've heard that for the longest time. I don't know if it's fact, but it's been one of those things the internet has always said.
That's interesting. I had no idea about that one. That's interesting because I love I love like learning about shows like that. Like not even just like learning about the voice actors, but like like what happens behind the scenes and a lot of stuff. And they're just amazing. And I mean so I guess we can move into, we've talked a little bit about I guess we should talk about like the movies, like how great is like the first movie. Like when you really see that, like even now, like I know some of the effects are dated, but a lot of the things really hold up in that. I feel like a lot of the jokes and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, I obviously we're like hugely biased here, so but I rewatched it sort of recently. I think the hype for the new movie's done it because I watched it last year and I watched it both of them this year, and especially on the Blu-ray, most of the effects look fine. There's a couple of them where it was like stop motion or
Yeah.
whatever that they've put in, and you can really tell, and that's like hilariously bad. But most of it's good because it's pretty. It was right on that cusp of like CGI and practical effects. So a lot of the basic stuff's practical. You know, they built stuff to blow up at the end of the film. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a guy in a suit walking around a miniature version of the streets and stuff like that. So a lot of it still looks great because practical effects, you know, tend to stand the test of time better. In terms of like the jokes and stuff and the story, yeah, of course it holds up. Yeah, I've got two nephews and a niece who have seen it a couple of years ago, and they sat through it all happily, even though they're all figures, you know, right down to like I think the youngest was probably like 4 at the time, and they all just, you know, they were focused on it the whole time. They enjoyed the story. Maybe they didn't get all the adult humor, but it's not like in your face, is it? It's very dry, kind of sarcastic. So obviously, as a Brit, I guess that appeals to us as well, the dry humor.
I mean, hey, you guys' dry humor works. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have ever got The Office, and then we would never have had The Office. So,
and you know, controversial take, you wouldn't have taken it and made it better. But
yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched The Office, so I just like know because like all my friends are like huge fans of it.
Oh, it's great.
So like, I've seen clips and everything. I've seen a lot of the clips floating around that I'll watch, and they are really funny. But yeah, no, I love the original Ghostbusters so much because one of the things I loved about it too was like you were talking about, it's very practical. Like a lot of the effects are there, like because what people have to understand is for the younger generation of kids who've grown up in like the last like 15 years or even 20 years, everything now is CGI. A lot of people don't want to do practical effects. They don't want to like build sets. Like as much as, you know, a lot of people don't like the newer Star Wars movies, I give those a lot of credit because they still build their sets.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
They build everything. They don't rely on heavy green screen as much. And I really respect them for that. And I respect when they do that because it's just amazing when you see what they do without green screen. Because in the early days, green screen and special effects were like a last minute resort for a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, they were very minimal, you know.
Yeah.
I guess they were really expensive, but they also just, you know, by comparison now they're just not that good.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you know, I for the longest time I was just like, man, I wish that like movies would do this a lot more. Like, you know, just focus on practical stuff because one of the best parts of the original Ghostbusters is where, you know, the apartment roof just blows off and there's like this temple to Gozer and all that stuff, you know, like all of that looked amazing to me. Like, it really was just well designed set, man, and it was fantastic. Like you said, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, all of that was just, you know, real for the most part.
Yeah.
Like when they didn't do like the small CGIs they did and everything. And then even when what's his name, Walter Peck got dumped on by the marshmallow, that was real. He actually got injured from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Like that's like a fact that like a lot of people don't seem to know about. But yeah, he got injured in that because it was real.
Yeah, they dump like I don't know how much. It was like shaving cream on him. You think how much shaving when you see that shot and think how much shaving cream that is. It's going to be heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know,
coming at that speed, it's
yeah, like you're holding it in your hand and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, it's nothing. Boom, hit myself in the face, doesn't do anything. But when you get like gallons of it dunked on you, it all just adds up. You know, like I mean, you can like, you know, you can walk into water and be fine, but you can have like a whole like friggin' water tower fall on you, and your neck is probably going to be like, well,
yeah, you're going to sprain something. Yeah.
Yeah,
totally. Like I agree with you. I mean, like green screen as well, and like this is not really that important, but like you were saying, it's like you like to know what sort of went on behind the scenes with the show and stuff like that. That's always interesting. When you look at films that have sets built, you know, that's really cool to see them moving around the set, taking the shots and stuff. But then I don't want to be like this. Oh, you know, the way it is now, we're not back in my day kind of person. But it is disappointing to see. Say, for example, Endgame or one of the Marvel films, and you see some of the behind the scenes stuff, and every set is just a green screen room, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, there's movie magic of everything that's on screen, and of course those films look great, and you get that like big wow. But then there's also the movie magic of watching how it was made, and then the magic just goes there. Like you can feel the movie magic when you watch like how they made certain parts of like Jurassic Park or something.
yeah.
It's a different kind of feel with like the animatronics and stuff like that, the giant rubber T-Rex and everything. But then when you watch behind the scenes for like some of the latest movies, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, there they are wearing the mocap suit rather than the actual Iron Man costume.
Yeah.
Just in a big green room, and it's like that.
Yeah, some of it like works for it, and then other times it just doesn't. And then like I also feel because CGI has spoiled us that they half-ass a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, but like Ghostbusters, the female one, the 2016 movie, there was a lot of bad CGI in that. Like everyone's like, yeah, it all looks like the Scooby-Doo villains of like the early 2000s and such, like, you know. And I was like, yeah, it does. They could have put a little bit more effort into the design, and maybe have made them like real people, but like green screen them in after, but still have them be real, you know.
I think that, I don't know if this is for fact or what, but I think that was kind of like a deadline thing that they just like threw like just loads of CGI in rather than spend time doing it more of an old-fashioned way, because now it's probably quicker to CGI stuff. So yeah, they went crazy with it. Some of it works and some of it doesn't, just because, yeah, like you say, it's a little bit overexposed with how bright everything is. It looks a bit too ridiculous at times.
Yeah, it's true. Like it can look ridiculous. They'll rush it, and you can clearly see like where it's like CGI and it looks bad. And it's like, come on, man. I've seen like smaller budget productions do way more with less and make it look better than this. That's the thing. And I mean, I guess like when you go to like Ghostbusters 2, like I love that. I personally, Ghostbusters 2 is my favorite, and a lot of people are like, really?
Yeah, you're among friends here. Don't worry. It's my favorite film of all time.
Yeah, and I'm not saying because it was the first one I watched. I just see, for me, when I watch movies, even if like because I know Ghostbusters 2 has a lot of problems with how they handle their characters, and how some characters took like a back seat, and then all of a sudden like people aren't like, like who they were in the first one as much, But I really liked seeing like what the after effects of Ghostbusters 1 did for them, and how they were progressing with their life. Like, I like when characters do that, and I feel that a lot of aspects of the movie were really good. Like the whole slime under the city and everything like that. That was really good. Like, I love that.
I know. Maybe it's a little bit cheesy, Ghostbusters 2, like the message, if you like. But I like that it has something like that. It has like a theme to it, and I'm completely with you. That's the main reason I love it as well. Is that after watching Ghostbusters 1, you love these characters and you just want to see them more, see how their lives have changed in 5 years, and see them interact. Like, it's such a nothing scene, I think, in the grand scheme of everything, really. Like, to an outside watcher that isn't as, frankly, obsessed with the series as I am. But my favorite scene in Ghostbusters 2 is just the bit where they're playing with the toaster, because they're just goofing around, And it's cool to see those characters just hang out. As a fan of that world and those characters, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like watching family members hang out for me.
Yeah, it is. Like they I mean, like, there is a lot wrong with Ghostbusters 2, but a lot of the things you still love from the first one are present in the sequel, and I think that they did a really good job with with doing it. And I know like a lot of people I hope more people can start to understand how good it was, because sometimes you see a movie when it comes out or within the first few years, and then you go back and you watch it like maybe like 5 years or to a decade later, and you're like, as an adult or as someone older, I can actually appreciate what this movie did in many ways. It's still got its issues, but I appreciate what it did. And I really enjoyed a lot of what 2 had. Like I said, the whole slime thing, the whole museum, it just I felt that Vigo was a bit weak for a villain.
The end is a bit flat, isn't it? Because of the way they get rid of him is kind of like,
like it was kind of weak. I mean, like Janos was the best thing. It's like, he is Vigo. You are the buzzing of flies to him. It's like, oh Johnny, did you back the wrong horse? Hose him. Like all that, like that they do. all that they do, like the interactions and how like they play off of it is great. And Bill Murray seems to be like the only character that kind of remains the same. He's just so deadpan, nothing affects him. He's just like, okay, well, we're gonna die. We go. And I think that was like one of the best aspects of that. It was that movie, and I remember like the line where they, like when they were in the mayor's office and they were talking about like, you know, like 40 years of darkness and stuff. And I remember going all the way back to like, this was about like 7-8 years ago when I still worked the restaurants. My boss was worrying about the workers that we had just lost recently, because a lot of them got tired of never being protected by our boss. Like they were all like fed up with like, you know, the customer's always right. Corporate would come down and like, you know, really hit us hard. And, you know, our boss wasn't sticking up for the employees that were doing their job, so they left. And so she was, you know, we had this big meeting talking about this stuff. And I remember like after it was like, you know, oh, hey, like we're talking about, like, you know, what we're going to do in the future. Like she was getting scared. And then I'm just, you know, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to get hit with rushes. We're not going to have anything. And it's like dogs and cats are going to start living together. Mass hysteria. And like, nobody got it. Everybody just like looks back at me. And I'm just like, really? No one? Really? Really? And then they all just turned away and didn't look at me again. Like, I get that. Yeah, a Ghostbusters fan is going to get that. But I figured that some of the people that were there would have understood, but nobody did. And I'm just like, come on, man. Like, I'm trying to lighten the mood here. Like, you know, it's all doom and gloom around here. If I was wearing a proton pack, they'd get it, but...
I like picking something like really subtle to slip in there and see if anyone notices as well. Just the little lines for me that I love. People just don't even think about. You know, everyone knows you. I think the mass hysteria quote's a big one. I feel like more people should definitely know that. And you know, you can call them stuff like that. But just like the little ones. So like at the beginning of the first film, where they're walking around the sort of basement of the library, and Ray says, "Listen, do you smell that?" Something stupid like that. I'll just like slide that into conversation, see if anyone picks up on it, stuff like that. It's all up here, and it just, you know, sometimes it just stumbles out.
Yeah, it's just like the fun little quotes you can do, like when they're in the hotel hunting Slimer, and it's like, we better split up. Good idea. We can do more damage that way. And it's like
exactly. That's a great example. Yeah,
it's like it's just such brilliant writing from that. And I don't know if you know, I remember like there was a time, this was probably about 2007, 2008. My friends and I were at the video game store that we all either worked at or pretty much just used as our clubhouse. I did a video on the channel, shameless plug, but if you guys want to go see video game stories, you know, go to that. It's one of the last couple of episodes I did. But we eventually came across this trailer called Ghostbusters 3, like Ghostbusters Go to Hell or something. And some fan took all these movie clips from various horror movies and movies where it was all like, you know, from all the main actors, all the other movies that they were in and stuff. And they wove them in to be like, yeah, the Ghostbusters broke up. They haven't been friends in years, but now something big is happening. We got to come back together. We're literally got to go to hell. And it's just like, why couldn't this have been the third movie? They're taking clips from all these different movies across the platform, and they're making this. And me and my friends saw that. And at first I was like, is this legit? And they're like, no. I've seen that movie that Harold Ramis is in. No, that's not. No, this is different. I don't know. Did you ever see that?
I don't know if I've seen that one, but I remember a time when those kind of things were everywhere. Like, we mentioned it, you know, the big wait after Ghostbusters 2, is there going to be a 3 or not? And so I do remember the early days of YouTube and stuff where people were cutting together their own teaser trailers and stuff. So I've seen that. I've definitely seen that kind of thing. That was the Ghostbusters 3 concept for a long time. You know, Ghostbusters Go to Hell. So it gave people plenty of ideas, as you say, splice stuff together from other films that those actors are in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen those kind of things. They're very cool, definitely. And for a long time, I mean, that's all we had, just to watch sort of fan-made stuff like that and wish it was real.
It's true. Hold on 1 second. You seem to be audio desync. Hold on, let me try this. Real quick. Okay, bring you back. Okay, so try to speak for a sec.
Speak for a sec.
Okay, cool.
Testicles
Now
again.
we're back on sync. Okay, I just noticed that during the thing. So, but yeah, no, like, like the idea of what Ghostbusters 3 could have been back in the day was kind of amazing. I mean, we're technically getting that now, but what fans always came up. This is like one of the reasons why I love the Ghostbusters fandom so much, was because the ideas that they had for like spin-offs, like the things that you've read, people like what they've created, like on the days of like DeviantArt and out there. It's just, it's really amazing. And I was glad to see like Ghostbusters also started to get new life when they did the comics. Like they, I guess the comics are really good. I have not read them because like trying to get the full amount of them and for me, doing comics is hard because you don't know where to start for a lot of them.
Yes,
you don't know like where they continue from, like where it begins, and there's compendiums, and then sometimes those are like out of print, so they're like $100. And I know you can like easily read them up, like you can sign up for like Comixology or something like that, but I'd rather have like, if being a Ghostbusters fan, I want that thick tome, man. I want my own Tobin Spirit guide of just Ghostbusters comics. You know, that's what I want. But I've seen like a lot of them, and they look really good, because there was one that came out that I didn't get, and I was bumming. But it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meet the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's quite exciting. And I didn't know if they did a comic book, but I know they've done like Transformers, like crossover stuff as well. But I missed out on the comics early on, and I landed in exactly the situation that you're talking about, where I'm like, I don't know what's what. I don't know what I need to buy and what I don't, what order everything's meant to be in. It's really daunting. I've got some of them. I don't know, like 8 issues or something somewhere. But then I think the shop that I was buying them from stopped bringing them in.
Ooh.
And then I sort of lost track. And now it's like, I maybe the comics might be over now. I don't actually know.
I think it was like a small run of them or something.
It was a few years, I think, that they went for, to be fair. But like, I haven't heard anything in a long. So maybe it's easier to get them sort of now, but like, yeah, like you say, I didn't know what to get and what to buy, and it sort of got away from me, which is why this is not really related to Ghostbusters, but the Horizon Zero Dawn, on the lead up to the new game, they're doing some like random comic bits and pieces. So like instantly I'm like, right, okay, this is something I'm interested in. If I get in right at the beginning, I can get everything in the right order and not have the same problem, as you were saying, like, of not knowing what the hell's what. Because there's so much Ghostbusters stuff out there that, yeah, I don't know what to buy and what order to read it in. I do have some of it, and what I have is really cool.
Yeah,
you're right. It was a bit of a revitalization for a little bit there, because there's the board game as well.
Yep.
And the artwork for that is based on the comic books. So,
right, it was. I forgot about that board. Yeah, like I really, I mean, like,
see it right there.
you just like go to it, and like you just like bow to it or pray to it every morning and everything. You know, it's just like, thank you for existing. But yeah, like I thought that was such a cool idea, like Ghostbusters meet the TMNT. Like I was really excited for that, and I'm honestly hoping that a movie comes of it, because they did, you know, Batman meets the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then they did the movie, which was actually very violent. I thought they would not have gone as violent, because like Shredder literally throws a shuriken at one of his own foot soldiers right in the head, and they're not robots in this, they're people. So, because like Batman's just like, you know, like, why are you in Gotham? And then all of a sudden, and like all this blood starts coming out. I'm like, oh my god! Like,
okay, cool. I need to see this,
dude. Wait, like the fight between Batman and Shredder is badass. Like they finally made the Shredder a bat. Oh, I mean, he was badass in the TMNT 2003 series and everything. But like he's really on display. He beats the shit out of Batman, and Batman like beats the crap out of him. Like they have great fights in this, and just like watching the Batman cast interact with the TMNT is actually very entertaining. It works. So that's why I was really hoping, because of the success of that, we would see Ghostbusters and TMNT a CG, like, you know, like a movie of that, like an
animated.
Yeah, animated. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool, because you could maybe bring in the voice cast.
Oh yeah.
From maybe the actual actors. Bring, like, you know, it's funny that we started talking about the cartoons and how close Maurice LaMarche was to Harold Ramis. No one's going to complain if you get him in to play Egon, are they? Like that would be great.
They'd be more upset if you didn't get him, you know?
Well, absolutely. Like that would be amazing if that happened. You know, never say never. I think, depending on how well the new film does, you could see a few more things like that. Maybe whilst this is kind of a little bit sad, maybe, but whilst we still have these actors around, please, use them as you can, and like voiceover and stuff like that's great, because then they can play these characters at their peak age, rather than all being 60 and stuff.
Well, that was like
the other one.
That was like the original idea. I think they wanted like Ghostbusters 3 was going to be CGI because they were getting older and stuff.
That was talked about, yeah. Like for a long time, they've talked about handing the torch to young actors for ages. Yeah, that was always sort of like the plan, I think, but it just never happened. And now we're in this weird, awkward space. The other comic thing that I really want to get, I don't know if you've seen this, it's worth looking up. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Cross Rip or something like that. And it is, they basically did like a multiverse of Ghostbusters story. So
Really?
it's got the comic book Ghostbusters, who I don't know if they're technically meant to be the same as the film Ghostbusters. I guess they are. But then they come across the real Ghostbusters from the animated show. The Extreme Ghostbusters are in there. Like there's all these, the female Answer the Call Ghostbusters are in there. And they all encounter each other. I was like, that looks really kind of cool. Like as a unique thing, I wouldn't want a movie out of that. That'd be crazy. But in terms of like big, dumb comic book stories, you totally want that kind of thing.
Dude, I would love a movie of that or something like that. That'd be good. Because like, going back to TMNT, like they did something like that in one of their series. Like they did like to end the series. It was like Turtle Prime, where the 2003 guys met the 87 Turtles, and then at one point they actually met the Mirage, like the first TMNT, the black and white comic one. And everything, and Raph just loved them. He's like, these guys are so cool, because like they were just so fucking violent and everything in that. They were just violent as hell, because like that was so like good. Before the 87 Turtles took over and stuff. But yeah, like I mean, I think, and I guess that's like what's something we can hope that this Ghostbusters, the new one, does, is that it revitalizes a lot of need for Ghostbusters cartoons and stuff like that, because TMNT, like Turtle Mania, like died in like the late 90s and everything like that. It really started going the way of like the Dodo in, like I swear to God, like 96, 97 when the show had ended. At least I think that's when it ended. They tried that Next Mutation live action show. It didn't work. They had a crossover with the Power Rangers, which was a good episode. I'll admit that. But Turtle Mania like was dead for like a long time. Then 2003 kind of like brought it back, and then they did that one CGI film just called TMNT.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then like they started doing the Michael Bay live action ones, which for those ones I did enjoy. How the Turtles looked. Everything else was terrible. Like they gave the Turtles a lot of personality in terms of how they look.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so like that's the one thing I give Michael Bay credit for, is that they actually looked cool. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping, like that like Ghostbusters just revitalizes this need for it, because every convention I go to, there's always some kind of person cosplaying Ghostbusters, or like around like the United States. I don't know if it's the same thing over in England, but they have like different fractions of like Ghostbusters of Chicago, Ghostbusters of like New England, stuff like New York City, and they go to things. They have like, they literally have an Ecto-1 car or anything. Like they get the suits, they get everything. Like it's amazing, like what they do. You go get pictures taken with them, and that's really what I hope that this new movie does. I mean, it's got Paul Rudd in it, so it's probably going to be an instant win in my book.
Oh man, I freaked out when they announced that. I was like, that's so perfect. Like, I'm definitely down. Yeah, let's hope so. I think Sony are really hoping for it, and they have been for a while. With the last film, they were really trying to do something with the franchise before it gets a little bit too late. And there was talk about them doing not a sequel, but like a spin-off, like a set in the same universe, and that didn't happen. So they're definitely trying stuff, and there's new toys coming out with this film that are based on the old characters. So I don't know what exactly. I think they've obviously got to wait to see what the reaction is. Like, let's hope it's good. Because like this could be a jumping off point to start again, finally. You know?
I mean, it's just, I'm always like a big believer in, you don't have to keep the same characters around for a long time, but you have to give them a proper send-off and also establish a new crew. And maybe that's what they're doing with this newer movie. Maybe that's what they're trying to do with this, because the kid in it, like, you find out that their grandfather was Egon, or so it says in the trailer. That's right, because you saw his old jumpsuit in one of the frames and stuff. And that is the jumping off point for the old cast to come in and do this, and they're all having cameos in this movie apparently too, so that's gonna be, and I pray that like they all just like show up at one point like all fully dressed up, ready to go. Like you all I mean, Bill Murray did it in what was it called, Zombieland. Like if he wore it there, then he'll wear it again, like if they give him enough money, I guess.
This is true.
I mean,
yeah,
I guess like before we start talking more about like the third movie and like our hopes, like what did you think about the 2016? I mean, we all kind of know, but like there's always a negative aspect about it, and I mean for good reason, because it was done for the wrong ways. But what did you feel when you saw it?
You know, like it's one of those things that's difficult to talk about because no matter what your reaction is, there's something about this film that just like pisses people off in one way or another. Like whether you love it or hate it, you'll get, you know, some portion of the fan base will make some accusation about you. It's good. It's not great. I enjoyed it. It's good for what it is. It's very flawed. It's too long. Some of the humor is not great. Some of it's actually, you know, laugh out loud. You know, I like the characters. I like the casting. But it's compared to the lightning in a bottle that is the first film and the second film for me, you know.
Yeah.
It's night and day, isn't it? Which is a shame because, you know, to say like, you know, I enjoy it for what it's worth. I don't think that it was ever going to launch any more films, and I don't think it probably.
I mean,
I don't know. It's difficult because I'd like to see them have another go at it in a weird way, but it's not going to happen, and it probably shouldn't because, again, like I say, if they do that, the reactions before they've even put pen to paper is going to be people screaming at each other again, which is a real shame that that's associated with this franchise now. You know.
Yeah, like, you know, you'd want to like turn around because my story for that was I got a free ticket to go. My buddy worked at the theaters, so he gave me a free ticket, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll see it, you know, because I really don't want to give this movie money. Like I just had a bad feeling about it, but I went in with an open mind regardless. And after I got done with the movie, I walked up to him. He's like, "Oh, Tony, so how'd you like the movie?" And I goes, "I want my money back." He's like, but I gave you a free ticket. I was like, I want my money back, dude. And he's like, "Funny, I gave you a free ticket. You didn't pay." I was like, "Dude, I should be paid for having to go what I just saw, okay? That was a bastardized like version of what it should have been." And he's like, "Really? Was that bad? Like, I haven't seen it yet." And I was like, "Dude, you work here. Go watch it and, you know, try to hold down the puke if you can." Now, I make these jokes and everything like that. But the thing was, like yourself, I did like a lot of aspects about what this movie was supposed to be. First off, Chris Hemsworth was amazing in it. He was literally the best part of the whole damn movie. Like, you figured, okay, dumb muscle guy and everything like that, you know, we know how this is going to go, right? But he throws you for a loop. Like, the jokes and how they wrote his direction for it and how he delivered it was just like, dude, this is, I give you credit, man.
Yeah, I didn't know he could be that funny until this film. Like, there's just, like, when we talked about great moments and stuff from the other film, but the one that I always think of from this film, my favorite moment of this movie is where they're talking about how he's taking the lenses out of his glasses in case he's got an itch so he can scratch through his glasses. That's so good. Like, there is a great film in here, but it's just lost. I think you're right. Like, there's something in here, but somebody needed to come in and say, no, get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm going to be honest, and this might be controversial. I think bringing the old cast in for their cameos, especially Bill Murray, get rid of it. It doesn't help the film. It slows the film down. You look at them actors and you go, oh, look, it's the actors that played the old characters. That's a fun little bit, but it doesn't actually do anything for the film. I find it really distracting, to be honest. Just, you know, let the characters do their thing, but, you know.
Especially since, like, Bill Murray had, like, a pretty prominent role as being, like, a...
Yeah, he gets, like, a whole 25-minute chunk of the movie or something.
Yeah, like, I feel like he was that movie's Walter Peck in many ways. That's kind of how I feel.
Yes,
but
actually,
I was like, but it's not as enjoyable. You know, like... It's kind of like a reverse of what he was before. Now, I feel that, like, one of the best ones that was, like, the best cameo was, what do you call it there? Dan Aykroyd. When all the
Dan Aykroyd is probably the best. Yeah.
And so I was like, it's like this guy, like, he's driving this cameo, he's like, he knows what this is. Like, you know, he's still playing himself pretty much from the older movies. And I was like, okay, I respect that. That works. You know, and there was just, and one of the things that nobody fucking talks about in this movie, and that I think that actually deserves the praise, is the fact that they show the girls trying out all the different new toys that they get to bust ghosts, and they actually show them out there busting ghosts. The original Ghostbusters, it was like a shot of them just like, you know, walking down the street, their commercial of the fake ghosts and everything like that, you know, them you know, trapping that running ghost and stuff. They didn't do a lot of super heavy ghost busting in those movies, because I guess it was more just like focused on the comedy aspect of it really. But that's something that Ghostbusters 2016 actually did a really good job with, was showing these girls try it out. And like when they tried them out and they got thrown around and stuff, like that was funny stuff, you know? Like the villain's motive was like weak, but when Holtzman came out and she fucking just like took out like all those ghosts around, they had like that slow motion and the theme song was playing in the back. That was like one of my favorite parts of the movie. I was just like, it's a little obscure, but they're kind of doing a bit more than what the old Ghostbusters used to do. Like, you never really saw them get tossed around that badly in many ways. That wasn't like, you know, I mean, sometimes they did, like when they got hit by blasts and stuff, but, you know, they did that really well in this movie. And I think if they tried to, like, focus it not so much on being about, you know, female power and all that stuff, which, again, I got nothing against that, but you have to do it properly. You can't just insert it because it's the hot new thing. You can't capitalize, because that's one of the things I don't like what Hollywood does. Whenever something is popular, they'll make a movie about it, but they don't actually do anything with it. They just run with the idea and never go full circle. Like, if you just had these girls just be as hilarious as they are and wrote them a little bit better in the direction, would have been fine.
Yeah,
I feel it really would have been better.
I do see that perspective completely. Like, it's funny because as we said about Extreme Ghostbusters was so good for representation, and that was just what it was. You know, it wasn't. They didn't shout about it, you know, all the time. So I do get that criticism totally. And yeah, all the stuff where they're like trying equipment out and just like goofing off together. Funnily enough, again, the best parts of the film, because like the other Ghostbusters, this is the biggest compliment I can play to this film, I think, is that the characters feel just as good as the other ones, because, you know, the way they all interact and those scenes come out so strongly. It is like what we were saying about Ghostbusters 2, is seeing where all these characters are now. Yeah. Like, those are the enjoyable parts, getting to see them together as a unit, trying out like the ghost mines or whatever, or the grenades or whatever, you know, stuff they had. Yeah. Like, I agree.
All that stuff was great. And it's like, you know, like I said, the characters aren't bad. Like, everybody fucking loved Holtzman. She was like the best.
Great.
Like,
oh yeah.
That actress, like, when I was just like, I remember I was just like, I want her to marry me. Like, she is such a badass. And my friend, she's just like, get in line because I'm getting her first. So I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And she's like, Tony, she's gay. And I was like, yes, of course. Well, I still have Rachel Weisz to fall back on anyway, and Kat Dennings.
Best of luck.
Well, I mean, I don't have Rachel Weisz now because she's married to friggin' James Bond himself. I can't compete with James Bond. That guy does all of his own stunts, for crying out loud.
That's true.
Plus Daniel Craig, the guy's a badass. I love him. But yeah, like, you know, if they were to bring these guys, like these, like, you know, like this crossover thing, like you told, like all these Ghostbusters made, like, you know, like we're like crossing over and stuff like that, that would be such a good CGI film, like an animated movie, like Ghostbusters saves the multiverse, or Ghostbusters saves the Earth. Like, there has to be like a worldwide ghost epidemic breaks out or something, and the Ghostbusters have to do it. You know, like that. There's ideas, and I think one of the reasons, it's kind of like the gaming world. Obviously, you know games and stuff, so we both know that a lot of these higher ups at Japanese companies, they don't think properly because there are a lot of old Japanese businessmen that don't understand what fans really want. And in America, like Hollywood, it's a bunch of old people running these studios. They don't get what people want. They don't let the directors and the writers do what they know fans want. Which is why, like, pretty much with any video game property that's made into like a fan film, like when it's like a, you know, like you know, like when people make fan films off of video games, they're always done amazingly because fans care. I mean, Street Fighter Assassin's Fist is literally the best fan series ever, because it was like a series on Machinima like 7 years ago. Did you? I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
I don't think I've seen it, but I know about it. Yeah. Even
if you're not a Street Fighter fan, I tell people to watch it because the acting in it and the martial arts aspect to it, because all the actors are martial artists, it works so amazing, and it sticks to Street Fighter lore, and they kind of added like their own little twists on things, but never warped it to where it changes everything. And that's what fans do. I mean, fans made that Final Fight, a Broken Gear. It's a Final Fight fan film. It was amazing. They did that Metroid fan film with Jessica Chobot like years ago.
Yeah.
just saw the love. And like, for the series that I work on for Power Rangers Unworthy, we're not told by a studio what to do. It's our ideas. It's what we're doing. We're filming it how we want. And people are loving that. And that's the thing. That's why I wish Hollywood would get on board and realize you have the chance to make money. Take risks on reboots and remakes. Why don't you take, why don't you take existing stuff and work with it? That's how I feel like when, you love a series so much and you don't get, any love for it. Like when they completely write it off, like how Capcom doesn't want to acknowledge that Dino Crisis exists. Like, that's no shade at Capcom. I love the company, but I want Dino Crisis.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like one of those things where when you see like fan films do really well, sometimes you see, oh, we're going to make one of them then because everyone's talking about it online. And they just do everything wrong. Like, why not go to those people and give those people a job, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Resident Evil 2 was so successful. Those guys that were making the the remake of Resident Evil 2, they got shut down, but then got brought to Capcom to work on the game. And Capcom was smart about that. They had original developers working on the remake and fans. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy VII Remake. They brought in developers who were fans who played it when they were kids. So they understood why it's so amazing. And that's what I wish Hollywood would start doing. Like, really consult people more. It's like one of the best examples I could also give is like the Power Ranger 2017 movie. It was actually a good movie. It wasn't exactly what it could have been, but they were trying to establish a world without establishing the first movie. But what they planned, me knowing so much about Power Rangers and stuff, I saw what they were doing. And I was like, okay, I get it, but you got to focus on this movie first. And while the casting was perfect, and some of the actors had even reached out to talk to the original Ranger actors and everything, like how to do stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, like it just wasn't what people wanted, which I think the fans, like, it is what fans wanted, but sometimes I feel fans don't know what they want. There is problems with the movie, don't get me wrong, but that's the thing. Like, fans just do it better, and companies need to reach out and really work with these guys. Like, be consultants. It's actually kind of funny that we're doing this because there was that episode of the Ghostbusters cartoon where they were making a movie about the Ghostbusters. And and like they're just and Bankman's character, he was just like, he's like, let me guess, you got Robert Redford to play me. He was dying for the role, wasn't he? He goes, not exactly. And they hand him like the script and they read him and it's like, Ramis, Murray, Aykroyd, who are these guys? And I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Yeah, that's such a cool little thing. I love that.
And what was happening in that episode, they were making a Ghostbusters movie, but it was nothing like the Ghostbusters. So, almost 30 years later from that episode, it rings true to this day of like how like big companies don't understand what they really have.
Yeah, and I suppose sort of like leading into the new film, we are at the stage where a fan is making the film. Like the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife is like the original Ghostbusters fan, in his words, being the son of the original director.
Yep, Jason Reitman. He's the one doing it.
Yeah, Jason Reitman. Being on set for Ghostbusters 1. So being, falling in love with the world of that film before the film would even finish, getting to see everything in production, having a cameo role in Ghostbusters 2 as well, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
And now he's written and he's directed the latest film. So we might finally go from the corporate studio version, I suppose, of Ghostbusters completely to, whatever this new film is going to be, but made by a fan at least.
Yeah, made by somebody who understands and who, wants heart to be. And that's kind of the funny thing.
Certainly feels that
when
way.
I first found out that he was directing it, the first thing I thought it was like that was that meme where it's just like, oh no, this was later on I thought of this, but I was thinking of like his dad just standing over him. It's just like, are you succeeding yet, son? That's all I can picture.
Wait till the movie does like big box office, and then you need to make that meme with their heads on it.
Yeah, like Ghostbusters 3 outsells the first two movies, and his father comes to him and he's like, you know what, son, I could use some money now. Anything, I kind of raised you and gave you money for years. You can kind of give me some. Like, that's kind of cool though. Like that's really cool that they gave the role. It's a little off topic, but they kind of did the same thing recently with The Sopranos. They're doing a prequel story to how Tony Soprano became who he
Yeah,
was
I
later
heard
on.
about that. Yeah,
And they have his real life son playing him when he's younger.
that's really cool.
Yeah, and it looks good. Like I mean, none of the original characters we saw are. It looks like they're gonna return because a lot of the actors are really older now and stuff. So it'd be hard to get them to play younger versions of themselves. CGI, anything's possible. I mean, they made Michael Douglas look so young in the Ant-Man movies and everything. But yeah, like it just things like that when Hollywood seems to understand and give a damn, when stuff like that, that's where you start having faith. I guess like move on to the next thing. Did you ever play the Ghostbusters game, which was technically considered the third movie that came out like on PS3 and 360 years ago?
I have a story. I think people that are like watching to this will begin to realize just how obsessed with this franchise I am.
Here we go.
So that game, when it was announced, like its release date was announced, there was some weird fuckery in the UK where in other countries it would come out for all consoles at the same time. But in the UK, I didn't have a PS3 at this time. I was an Xbox 360 owner, and they announced that it was coming to PS3. I don't know if it was 2 months maybe or something. Maybe embarrassingly, maybe it was just a month. I don't know. Before it was coming to Xbox, I guess something to do with Sony. People, Sony owns Ghostbusters, Sony owns PlayStation. They want people to buy the game on their console, so Xbox is going to have to wait however long it was. Well, I was not very happy about this, obviously, and I guess the people at Atari that made the game weren't that happy about it either, because they kind of I think quite subtly announced that the game was going to be region free, and just sort of left it at that. So I bought my Xbox 360 version from GameStop over the internet, and had it imported so I could play it on my 360, and it did work. So thank you, Atari and developers, for making it region free, so that I could play the game the day that it came out in America, rather than wait an extra couple of months, because there was no way I was waiting any longer than I already had been by this point. Because I don't know if you'll remember, like, the hype for this game came a few years before it came out, because there was a fan game, like a small studio was working on a tech demo that got leaked, and despite the fact that they didn't have the rights to make a Ghostbusters game, but that blew up, and that's why the game actually happened. So I'd been waiting since this sort of tech demo came out, and I was like, I'm not waiting any longer. I'm having it as soon as I can get it. So I paid like double the price basically to play it a little bit early.
If you love it, you'll do what you can to get it,
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, a friend and I like blasted through it in the first 2 days. It's really good actually. I think it's really good. It's not very video gamey. Like, it's not very easy to replay because it's very story focused. It is like playing a film. Yeah. But as a game / film, a Ghostbusters 3, it works for me. I'm happy with it. I like it.
Yeah, like I never beat it, but I did play it a long time ago, and I got the remastered version on PS4 and the Switch.
Yeah.
But I was so happy when I saw that, and then I found out that the voice actors were coming back for it. I'm like, holy shit, because it was like the last time that Harold Ramis voiced Egon and everything, so that made it all the more like special. When it was just, I was like, they didn't forget, they know that it exists still. This is amazing. This is great. Holy shit, what a time to be a gamer, because it was like 2008, 2009, I think it was coming out or something.
2009.
Yeah, it was 2009. Like a lot of things coming out in 2009. I mean, there was Resident Evil 5 was like one of the biggest games that came out during that time period.
That's the same year, yeah.
Yep, and this was also, like the year before was like Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, so like within those span of years, we're just getting a slew of great games, and I gotta play it one time on stream. I gotta do that. I gotta like pop it in on the PS4 and play it on stream, because it's just like, like you said, it's very story focused. I remember when playing it, I feel that there was really no reason to upgrade to a lot of the other attachments to the Proton packs and everything, but I really just enjoyed for what it was. Like I wanted to review it years ago, but I didn't finish it, so I didn't review it. But for the things that were wrong with it, I didn't want to say anything bad, because I was just so happy that I got something that I loved again, and they didn't really screw it up. Like, it was really good. No. I mean, the whole playing as a new recruit was kind of a bummer. I was just kind of like, you could have had us just swap between the main guys and stuff, but if that was like one of my few main complaints.
I get that. Like, I suppose if you play the multiplayer, you can
Yeah.
play as the actual character. So there's that. But yeah, I get you. Like the rookie makes sense for me as kind of like an outside view. Obviously, it allows them to explain various stuff. So it's totally cool. I do remember sort of freaking out when the voice cast was confirmed. It was going to be the four guys. And Annie Potts is in it as well. You know, William Atherton, who played Walter Peck, was going to be in it, but more important, of course, you know, Bill Murray actually finally, after years of saying he wouldn't do a Ghostbusters 3, signing on to play that character again, was like, oh, it's actually happening. Like, oh my god, it's gonna happen. It's real.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because like, you know, they gave him a decent amount of money to do it, and the fact that it was just voice work.
Easy work. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if, like, I mean, if they did motion capture for it and everything, they probably didn't have the actors do it.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I know that the voiceover literally took like 2 days, I think, to record everything. So nice and easy. And I think in a lot of ways, it helped sort of warm him to the idea of coming back, because for a long time it seemed like he was very anti Ghostbusters, despite the fact that most people, when they think of Bill Murray, they think Ghostbusters before most other things, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the start, I think.
I mean, that happens. Like, you know, when you're like a celebrity, you can get this really good role, and you can do a bunch of stuff after, but nobody seems to care about that. They just know you for that one role.
I understand. Yeah.
And I understand like getting upset about that, but then like there's other actors out there who just love the role that made them famous. Like you like Henry Winkler played the Fonz on Happy Days. He loves that role. So every time he goes on a talk show, he says how much he loves that role. He's like, I get stopped in public all the time, and people go, "Ay," and like I'll go back and say "ay" to them and stuff. Like, that's a real good way to do it. Because I mean, he's also like, I mean, he's been in a lot of things after Happy Days too, but he's also a phenomenal director. Like when he's done serious stuff, I remember like he was in an episode of like Third Watch. It's an old cop show that was in like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and he played a guy who was like a child abuser in it. And it was like a 2 or 3 part episode, I think. And it was dark, man. And he did it really good. And that's like one of the things I hate about Hollywood. Like they see you as one thing and one thing only, and don't let you do anything else. Like they won't cast you. It's like you get known for this. Like one of the reasons why, like, what's his name? Jaleel White, who played Urkel. He didn't get anything after Family Matters because for 8 years he played Urkel. Now he was smart because he gets, every time that show got rerun or put on streaming things, he gets big residuals. So it's not like he had to work. Like he was getting bank after that show. Unlike a lot of actors who never were smart as him and did that, you know, he got bank. But that's the thing. I can understand why Bill Murray, being as he was, because I mean, Groundhog's Day, you know, Aquatic Life and everything, you know, he's in a lot. But Ghostbusters was the biggest.
I don't know when like Lost in Translation and stuff like that was. Obviously, that's something that he was, I think, trying to pursue those kind of films for a long time, and now he's had that experience as well as sort of being a serious actor, if you like, you know, more dramatic. So, you know, fair play to him, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, you know, like a lot of people, like when it comes to the acting and stuff, like I've had friends who are actors and they told me it's like, yeah, like you get burnt out doing the same thing, and like, you know, you do all this awesome stuff, but nobody really like knows about it or cares. They just care about that one thing, you know, and it does weigh on you. And it's like, yeah, I can understand that. Like, you know, like you doing one thing, like, and then like for the next 30 years, you devote your life to doing roles on other stuff, which is kind of why like voice acting is kind of a lot cooler than acting and sometimes I feel, because voice acting, you can do so many different characters, and people will find a reason to love those characters more than I think an actor in Hollywood. Because you look at someone like Steve Bloom. He's in everything. He's been so many characters that people have loved throughout the years and everything like that. Richard Epcar has been so many characters throughout like the 90s. He's been in Power Rangers, Digimon. He's Balto from Ghost in the Shell. Like he's Myotismon from Digimon, Adamon from Digimon. Like you know, and he's what do you call it there? Old Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah, like the best character in Stardust Crusaders. I'm not even like a huge JoJo fan, but when I watched that, I watched it for him because he was so good. These are like you know, those guys, like when you meet a lot of these voice actors, they're just so down to earth. Even if it was one role, but they've done so many, people just love them. And then you get people in Hollywood that are just dicks. Like, I never really have met a voice actor that was mean. I met John Barrowman, and he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I've heard that, to be fair.
Well, he was nice when he first saw me and my friend. Like, we got a photo with him, but then my friend wanted to go get something autographed because we paid for like one of those things, right, where you just, you know, take the picture and stuff like that, and then go on and get the printout and stuff. He wanted to go get something signed by him, so we went to do that, and I think maybe he got mad that I was talking to his husband. And then because the line was pretty long, but his husband was helping to like file and organize stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, so what are you here for? And I was like, oh, you know, we just want to meet him, get this thing signed. And oh, that's right, I needed to get something signed for a friend of mine as well. So I was talking to his husband. I was like, yeah, how you liking it out here? And he's like, oh my God, it's great. We're out here with his nieces and we're having such a good time. Like, we're going to go to Cape Cod at one point. Oh no, Martha's Vineyard they were going to go to. And I was like, dude, like, I know you guys like to drink wine and stuff like that. You know, they got a lot of great places to try wine out there. They got a lot of great places to eat. Just fantastic. And I think John got mad that I was talking to his husband. I was like, dude, I'm not gay. I'm not trying to take your husband from you. I'm just like, I was just like talking to him because he's a cool dude, you know? And he's just kind of a dick, like when I finally got up to him and everything. And I was like, oh, that's a complete personality flip.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but like I said, I've never met a voice actor that was rude. They're just like some of the most down to earth people. Know? And some actors, you know, like Bill Murray, fame gets to their head, you know. And I mean, it looks like he's coming down in years, like he's understanding the importance of what he means to a lot of people. And I think that took him a while to get there.
The age thing, isn't it? Now that he's had all these experiences and he's getting older and just sort of like seeing his career, you know, in the rear view, seeing it all together, I think it's definitely chilling him out, which is nice because he was, for a long time, he was one of those like asshole, holier than thou actors.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I mean, like, apparently, like, he's a good dude in public. Like, you hear all those stories about him, like, coming up to people and taking photos. And there was that one thing, like, where he was at his son's bar in New York City and he was bartending and stuff like that, you know, and he just walks up to people. He would take food off their plate and said, no one's ever going to believe you about this, and just walk. That's not even mean. That's funny as hell.
It's funny.
Like,
That's funny.
If Bill
How could
Murray
you be
came
mean?
up and did that to me and he took a bite out of my burger, and I'm just like, I'm putting this on eBay.
The greatest day of my life.
I was like, this is great. Like, yeah, no one's gonna believe this, but you know, that's the thing. I'm glad that he has come down in many years because, you know, there's still life left in the old Ghostbusters to do a lot of things in terms of animated films and such, you know. And I think that they all, I mean, Dan Aykroyd, I'm sure, and Winston, what do you call it there? Ernie Hudson. Yeah, they will do that. And Ernie apparently is like one of the best people to meet, I hear. He is like one of the nicest dudes to like that you could ever meet at a con.
I'm so mad because a friend of mine has met him and I didn't get that opportunity. I don't know when it was, a long time ago now, 14 years ago or something. But just he was at a London Comic Con. They had the Ecto-1 there with Ernie. It's like, I've not met anyone from the franchise, but that would have been my one shot. But yeah, definitely, you know, like, he seems like he'll be down for whatever. And, you know, Dan Aykroyd's all over it anytime. Ghostbusters, anything, he'll be available.
Well, I mean, like, he was the guy who created Ghostbusters, really. And like, he had all those like ideas and stuff, and you know, like, I mean, you and I have the books that like go like the Ghostbusters Holy Bible and everything, you know. We got that, which I was funny. I remember I tagged you in that on Twitter. I was like, hey dude, look what I got, and you just posted a picture of yourself holding it. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Of course I have that. Of course.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. I love that. But yeah, no, it's just like, this is just really like a franchise, you know, clearly we're both passionate about. And aren't they like, or did they make a Lego set of like the firehouse at one point, or?
Yeah, there's a firehouse and there's an Ecto-1. And they made one for the 2016 film as well. Yeah,
like the Chinese restaurant, wasn't it? I think.
I don't know if they made they might have done. I don't know if they made a play set of like the building. They might have done.
I feel that they did.
But they did make a Lego sort of Ecto-1, you know, the orangey red, you know, whatever it is, for them as well, which is cool.
Yeah, clearly I never got it, sadly.
Sets as well. They're like, I don't know what, like $180 or something stupid. The firehouse.
Legos have always been expensive. As someone who spent like a lot of his like young life dealing with Legos and stuff like that, it was really like expensive even back then. But I still feel kind of got a lot, because I asked my dad about that too, and it's just like, yeah, they were kind of expensive, but they kind of like, at least when you bought the big ones, it was worth the price. But now I see like a lot of these smaller ones, and it's like, you want $120 for this small little set? Like, really?
Jeez.
Avengers stuff is expensive. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's actually a guy, like the flea market that I usually go to you know, increase my library. The guy also sells Legos there, but what he does is he actually gets the Legos from a manufacturer in China, and it's not one of like a cheap Chinese knockoff. They're literally making Marvel characters that Marvel won't make in terms of Legos, because, you know, they're also about, you know, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, which is fine, you know, it's fine, but like they're giving lesser known characters like time to grow, or even ones from movies like Crossbones and stuff like that, and Nick Fury, different versions of him, like all like, and he's got like these massive display cases of all of them. So like I'm hoping that maybe he gets some Ghostbusters ones in the future, because he was getting he was getting Lord of the Rings stuff, ones that they never made before. They was getting some of the other ones he was getting. He was getting a lot of DC stuff, because I don't think DC makes Lego. Oh no, they do make Legos. They have the games and stuff.
They do.
But
yeah.
Like all the stuff that they make for those said things, China makes the ones that they won't make, and he charges like next to nothing for them. Actually, somewhere like up there, I've got like an Iron Fist and a Daredevil and a Doctor Doom and a Punisher, and that was before like the Netflix TV series ever got made. I just saw them there because I love those characters, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm getting these. These look good. So I'm hoping that's something that happens. I'm hoping that like a lot of good Ghostbusters stuff comes out for this movie, and not cheap crap.
They're definitely pushing the toy angle. Yeah, maybe there'll be more Lego. Really, I would like to get the firehouse at least. I don't know where the hell I'd put it, but
yeah, you'd find a spot.
I'm sure I could figure something else out. Be like, we don't need this half of the bedroom. This is my shrine.
Hold on, I'm checking it right now. So like, a used Ghostbusters firehouse, $800.
Oh, Jesus! What?
What? Why? Like
what? I don't.
Wait, can you still buy it? Oh, yeah, I think you can still buy it on their site here. Retired product. Oh, no!
Oh, well, there you go. I guess so.
I mean, well, there is one guy selling it brand new for $200 on eBay. I mean, my thing of it is, if you're really a fan of something, then you can spend the extra cash. Like, I buy Play Arts Kai figures for a lot of things that I like, but if there's ones for, like, Devil May Cry or Capcom games that they make figures that are like over 200, I will spend it, depending if it looks good or not. I remember like they had one like where Dante's jacket was like fully posable and stuff, but it looked like a giant puffy winter coat on him and stuff, and I'm like, I can't do this. That's way too much. Like if the coat was just more secure to him, I would spend that 200 or like 180, whatever. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, you can buy it for like 200. Someone's gonna on Macari for 1,200. Get the fuck out of here.
Jesus.
I'm not. No, I love it, but 200 it was high, maybe 250, depending on if it's not open. But
oh yeah.
Like this is that's ridiculous. But I mean, I guess that's what you get for not getting something one at a type. Ecto 1 is 117, so that's not too bad.
Okay.
123. So yeah, you can still get that. I mean, hell,
maybe some money from the First Aid Spray Patreon will have to magically go missing. And
all of a sudden, just like Steve and the crew just show up at your house and kick down the door, and there's you just playing with the Legos.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh my god, I can just see Steve just headbutting you like constantly. It's like, you took our money! Oh god, I hope he sees this episode. Yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, like, if you go into like Big Bad Toy Store and everything like that, that's like one of the best sites to order a lot of stuff from. It takes, especially due to the pandemic, it takes a long time. Right. For a lot of their stuff to be released, but I don't see that as a bad thing, because I see it as a time for you to be able to save.
Yeah, like, you've put the money down now, so you don't have to worry. You just recoup before it comes.
Well, actually, like that's the thing. You just put down, like you just save it. Like you just put down the pre-order, and the pre-order is free, and they don't charge you upon pre-order. So like they say, oh yeah, it's due out like, you know, third quarter, yada yada yada. But yeah, like it just they don't take it out at the beginning, and I love some for bigger things want like what do you call it there? Like a $25 down payment or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, like hold on, like Big Bad they still have that. I think they do. Yeah, they still got a lot of the stuff here. Like you can get the 4 guys like $300. Oh, you can actually get looks like the one of the new props from the movies, $100. It's like the Neutrona wand they're calling it. Oh damn! Like even some of their like their lesser expensive stuff, like you can get them for a pretty good price. Like, and well, I don't want to know why the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is naked. I thought he had a bib around him. Yeah, like this one doesn't have it. That scares me.
That's wrong. That's weird. I don't like that.
There's a version of the 4 guys that like they're all like slimed and everything like that for like $100 on pre-order, and it ain't coming out till January. So this is dangerous. I want to buy things now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tony, you're getting lost on the internet now. You're gonna come back like $300 less in your bank.
Oh, dude. Well, this might be something that you like. There is a Funko Pop of Peter Venkman covered in the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and it comes with a firehouse.
Oh wow! Okay.
You know, I will send this right to you right now, so you can buy it, and you know, and just you know spend the money.
I don't really do the Funko Pop thing, but the one that I do have, funnily enough, a friend bought me the Ecto 1 Funko Pop, which has Winston in it. Yep. And I was kind of like, no, I need to get at least the 3 other guys.
It's right? I mean, honestly, I'm not a big Funko guy either.
Yeah.
Like right above me right here, I got like all the Power Ranger ones up there. I got a couple other ones, and then I got some Street Fighter ones in here and Yu Yu Hakusho ones, and I'm just like, I don't even like these things. Why are they here? I'm like maybe they'll be worth it, because like the thing of it is, actually, wait, I have actually only opened 1 Funko Pop. It was when Crash Bandicoot came out. They made Fake Crash. And I was like,
that's cool.
Yeah, he's actually.
I like that.
He's back there in the right there. He's next to Toad. On the shelf, but yeah, because he just looks so cool. Like I always loved how goofy Fake Crash looks, so I was like, all right, you know what, I'll open this. It's probably not going to be worth anything, and I don't think it is, because if I opened that and that was the 1 Funko Pop out of like the 30 that I have that was worth something, I'd throw myself out a window.
Oh well, you know, it seems pretty likely now that you've said that, you've put that into the universe.
It's going to happen. The universe is going to will that to work now.
Exactly how when we were like, let's talk about Ghostbusters, and then a trailer is dropping at some point after we're done. Like, that's just how the world works. Tony, you should know this.
That's the thing. So for people watching this episode right now, we were talking about, you know, like Ghostbusters, and like we were setting up a time for this and everything. And all of a sudden we get the notification, and then you send it to me, and I was just like, like right when we're doing it. Of course, it's going to go live today. So mad.
I'm just gonna check that it hasn't already come out. Okay.
Yeah. Go for it, because I'm actually doing the same thing right now, and it's not showing anything.
No, we're good. We can't like if it comes out and then while we're have to do like a first reaction thing.
Dude, it's here. I think.
No way.
IGN has it. It went up 11 minutes ago.
No, are you serious?
I'm not lying. It's the honest to God's truth. It's IGN. It's like, as much as I don't like them, it's the truth. Like they don't put out a lot of crap and shit. But
wait. I don't care about the coalition. Fuck off.
I'd say let's watch it, but they're gonna like they probably like what do you call it there? Strike the video and shit like that because it's in here. So, I guess we couldn't have asked for a better moment to happen. Because you called it, you're gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna come out like, you know, an hour after we do the podcast. No, it's happening now.
It came out 12 minutes ago. Yeah, holy crap! I can't believe it.
Oh my god, that's great. I mean, I guess we can actually wrap this up because we've been with this for almost an hour and 30 minutes, but. Yeah, like
really, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Like time flies, man. Like it really does. It's a lot easier doing podcasts with other people than by yourself. I've done a few of my episodes. I've done solo and everything, and I was just like, shit, I'm almost done in like 30 minutes. That's not really much of a podcast, I guess. But because like when you have somebody else, you can stretch it out to at least an hour or even more. I mean, you guys at First Aid Spray, you guys do pretty long ones at times too.
I think I said this when I was on last time. Like one of the things we wrote down in sort of like our notes was sweet spot is like an hour and a half sort of time, and we routinely go 2 hours, sometimes 3. It's stupid, but
it's fun.
People love it. It's content.
Yeah, as long as people love it and everything, that's really all that matters.
As long as we can fit it around the rest of our lives, it's all good.
Like yes, like our podcast matters. Everybody, shift your lives to us.
Yeah, that's right. No dinner for you today. We're going into midnight, 1 a.m.
Oh, I love it. Did you actually ever play any of the other Ghostbusters games that they made that were out there? Because there's actually a decent amount of them, surprisingly.
Yeah, I've played a few of them. Funnily enough, Garfield. There was a Garfield game that got localized as a real Ghostbusters like puzzle game on the Game Boy, which I have weird memories of. The Mega Drive or Genesis Ghostbusters game is actually really good. It's like a little 2D side-scrolling kind of thing.
I remember that. People actually said that was a really good one.
It's decent. It is really decent. It's a lot better than the one that everyone remembers. It's on NES, Atari, Commodore, the one that's on everything.
Oh god, the NES one. Nothing made sense in that. Oh,
it's pretty terrible. Those are the 3 that I instantly come to mind. I've played around with a couple of the other ones, like New Ghostbusters 2 and stuff like that. But mostly the Mega Drive one the one that I'd recommend, definitely.
I also recommend the Game Boy one. I think it's Ghostbusters 2. I discovered this. I didn't know it existed because I did back when I was streaming on Twitch. Now another shameless plug. If you guys want, subscribe here because I stream here on this channel now instead of Twitch. But I got a bunch of Game Boy games together, and I started playing them. I was like, like Mario Land. I was having fun with like a lot of the different games out there. I saw Ghostbusters 2, and I'm like, this was a thing. Okay, I want to check this out, right? And it starts up, and I'm like, this seems promising. And then I play the actual game, and I'm like, this is like Pokemon. It literally, the characters look like the characters that walk around in the overworld of Pokemon. The setup and how the buildings are all set up, or looks like the inside of the buildings that are in Pokemon. And the funny thing was, this game came out in 91. It predates Pokemon by like 6 years. So I was so blown away by this. I was like, I'm loving this game. And you get to play as like 2 Ghostbusters. Like each one will follow. You can go from room to room. You got to keep them with you because like sometimes they get caught and get stuck and everything. But you can all like blast ghosts. It's really a fun game. I was kind of shocked. So I was just like, man, I'm surprised I never seen this before.
There's I think they basically remade it. I think for the NES, which is called New Ghostbusters 2. I think it's very similar. I've never played the Game Boy one. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, okay. I'm not
sure, but it I think it is like a similar thing. But it's so funny that you say like it came out in 91, which is 2 years after the film came out. Like you don't get that anymore. It was like, oh well, we'll just make a game based on a film from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
everything has to be out at the same time. Yeah, capitalize on the marketing.
It's true, but I guess because Ghostbusters Fever was still going strong even after the second one.
TV show was still on, so yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it made sense that they were okay to do something like. Which is cool. It's cool that they still believe in doing things like that because like some places are just like, yeah, we're gonna put out this and like, I can't remember. There was a famous game that did that. Like it came out a year or 2 after the movie did. I can't remember what game it was. But people were kind of shocked by that. That they released it 2 years after the movie had come out. It was on Matt McMuscle's What Happened video. I think it was maybe one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that was just a fun game, and for it to come out as far as it did, and it's one of the things I love about the original Game Boy. A lot of the games that were on the original Game Boy were just magical. Sometimes they looked amazing, sometimes they looked all right, but I really feel like there's a massive, great library of games. Which is why whenever I go to the flea market, some stands that I go to just have like a basket full of like NES games for $1, and I'm just like, scoop, let's go.
Yeah. The Game Boy was great.
Oh god, yeah. But yeah, so I guess that's we can call it a day here on this. So yeah, dude, thank you for taking time out of your day. I know it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, because I got turned around and thought we were doing it yesterday.
Tony has no concept of time or day.
Time, day, it's all irrelevant, man. Like, the time is nothing. It's all fractured. It's crazy. Loki screwed up. It's what happens. But yeah, no, dude, Sai, thank you again for coming on for this, man. I was glad that you had made time for this. Like,
it's my pleasure. It's always a good time to talk with you and to talk Ghostbusters as well. Maybe we'll come back around after the new film comes out, right?
Oh, definitely. I would definitely love to have a podcast talking about what was good about that one and not and stuff.
That would be cool.
I'd really enjoy that. So yeah, also tell people. I mean, it's here on the screen, but you can also tell them where they can find you and stuff.
Yeah, well, my personal Twitter is Signiac_123. But you can find most of the stuff that I make FA Spray Pod, either .com or at Twitter. First Aid Spray Podcast on YouTube. We're all around. It's not too difficult to find us.
All right, sounds good. All right, Joe, again, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you all for tuning in. Please, if you haven't, please thumbs up and subscribe because it's free. In this day and age, free is a damn good thing. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. I'm One Big Boss, and I will see you all next time.